All right, today we're going to start our reading log and reading assessment assignments for trimester 3 and trying to make it into more of lifelong reading habits than just reading for 8th grade language arts class. So there's two things that we're looking at. The first one is the trimester reading assessment guidelines, and everybody who's in class will get a paper copy of this to look at, but I will actually be holding on to these in a notebook. If you're IDL, you have this digital copy to look at, but again, I'll have a paper copy of yours in a binder. So first off, you'd put your name and your class hour at the top. And then each week, there's a student observation reading log. And keep in mind, I will be filling this out. You won't be filling it out, but I'll just be observing what you're reading and what page you're on and so on and so forth. This notes column is for things that I may see throughout the week during reading time. If you see an NR that week, it means you weren't reading. Maybe you were kind of staring off into space, daydreaming, what have you. An A means absent or out of class. Maybe you got called out of class or you just weren't there that day. An L means you were in the library or looking at books in the classroom. And an NB means no book. Just because you may have notes here doesn't mean that's going to negatively affect your grade. It's more of, is there a pattern? You know, are you going to the library every 3 days during class instead of reading and not making a lot of progress in your books? Are you constantly going out of class to the restroom during read time? Are you not having a book? So again, I'm looking for patterns. It's not, do you do this just once? The last column is reading scores. So every other week on Wednesdays, we will do a reading response. It'll be different than what we've done in the past. It'll be much more directed and much more quote-based. What that means is on the day that we have one, I will give you a very specific prompt to go with your book. You will need your book because it will involve using a quote from the book that you are reading. And each week you'll get a score of 1 to 10. There'll be a total of 5 scores, and then I'll average those out. Conference notes, this is when I talk with you a couple times a trimester just to kind of see how you're doing with your reading and so forth. That's where I'll take some notes. And then the only thing that you're actually filling out today on this sheet other than your name is, what do I want my lifelong reading to look like? This is very different from a reading goal like we've done so far. For instance, some students have said, oh, I want to read 5 books this trimester, or I want to try a new genre, or I want to read at home for 10 minutes. Those are very specific to this time period. We're looking for, what do I want my lifelong reading to look like? What do you hope to gain from reading? It might be something like, I want to know what kind of books I like. I want to find some favorite authors. I want to carve out time at home for myself to read. I want to visit bookstores, more of lifelong things that you hope to do. Because as I said before, once you leave 8th grade, your language arts or English teachers aren't necessarily going to have you track your reading like we did in middle school. So what was the point of all this for 3 years of reading in language arts class? What was the point? The point is to try to help you to have a better chance of being a lifelong reader. So this should be a really big goal, something that you're always working towards for as long as you wish. For me, my lifelong reading goal is simply to always remember to take time to read, instead of going and watching TV or cleaning the house or doing responsible things that I need to do, allowing myself sometimes maybe just 10 minutes a day to just read and give myself that time. That's my lifelong reading goal. So that's what goes here. And then at the bottom, you can see that I've indicated how the grading for the trimester will be. It'll be very similar to previous trimesters. 30 points, 10 points will be your responses. And so, like I said, it'll be an average of these scores. 10 points will be your log and observations. So, what books you're reading, are you bringing a book to class? Same as last 2 trimesters. And the last 10 points will be goal reflection, but that'll look a little different. We won't be reflecting each week on a goal because you don't have, like I said, a specific trimester goal. It'll be more in line with things we talk about when I conference with you, And then this final project that you're going to be doing at the end of the trimester, which I'll talk about later. So again, that is your trimester reading grading. And again, I will be keeping track of this. So if you're home and you're watching this, the only thing that you really need to worry about is creating a lifelong reading goal. And you would just email that to me, and then I will write it myself on your paper copy that I keep at school. All right, the other thing I want to show you, and the last thing I want to show you, is this 8th grade reading log. This is for you. Use it as a place to record all the books you finished this year. Like I just mentioned, you're going to be doing a reading project at the end of the trimester, at the end of the year, that kind of reflects back on your reading journey this year and what you've read. And this might help you. In addition, it's just sort of a cool thing to have. I keep one myself. I have a little journal where I keep a list of books that I read, and every time I finish, I started it about a year and a half ago, and every time I finish a book, I write it in the journal, and I actually give it a score of 1 to 10 on what I thought, and it's just kind of fun to look back and remember, oh yeah, that book was great, or oh, can't believe I suffered through that book. So this is just something for you. Now, if you open it up, and I'm just going to open, well, I'll open somebody's. Oh, I haven't shared it, or I haven't attached it yet. So if you open it up, when it's there, you will see that it's very basic. It just says what I've read at the top and nothing else. The reason for that is because I want you to make it your own. Change the font if you want, change the title, use bullet points, number them out. I don't care how you do it. Add images, add different colors. Make this page your own, almost as if you were decorating it on a piece of paper. If you prefer to do it on a piece of paper instead of doing it on a document like this, that's okay too. Some people have notebooks like I do already where you keep track of what you've read. It's just really a place for you to keep track of this, not only for the end of the year to help you with this final project, but for you for life. So that is it as far as what you're working on today, or what you're working on if you missed, because that's what this is for, is people who were absent. Start your 8th grade reading log, whether it's a digital copy right here or it is in a notebook somewhere, and not just the back of your math notebook, but an actual notebook dedicated just to that you can keep for yourself. And make sure that you write your lifelong reading goal. That's it. Have a great day.